it was the town administrator and the DPW supervisor?
Yeah, when I was there, they had separate elected, Water Commission is separate elected, Sewer Commission is separate elected, Highway Board, and nobody talked to each other. So, working with the Select Board, we created their first Department of Public Works, and we made it a special act. And with all the wordsmithing we did, one of the things we forgot to do was put in a start date. So when the governor signed the legislation, we had a DPW that day. And so for the next 9 months, I was the DPW director.
Well, that's interesting. Any questions?
Thanks, Mary, for coming down, and appreciate you putting your time in and wanting to work with the city and this important board. Little background on Board of Appeals. I mean, you know about the position and what the job entails and all that.
Yeah, because in what I do now, I'm generally in front of boards, commissions, elected officials through other communities in the Commonwealth. So, and as the municipal town clerk and treasurer in South Hadley, recording a lot of their findings on decision making.
And you have no trouble with the time, putting in the time to do whatever needed?
No, I've been told that this board doesn't meet often. That being said, I still have availability, with enough notice that, and that would be the public notice that would be needed anyhow.
And you're familiar, have you been into any of the meetings at all? Or
I don't think there's been any, have there? Because every
Recently?
time I've called, they've said we don't meet often. So I did speak
that's
to
good
Jeff
news.
Burkhardt, and yeah, we don't meet often. So I think I was notified by the mayor's office about a month ago that I was being recommended for this position. So it's my understanding there haven't been any
Not
meetings.
too many,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I guess it does happen, but not as often as probably we would think,
Right, it's not a
somebody's-
regularly scheduled meeting.
Right, okay. I appreciate it, quite a resume, and I didn't realize you do all the, basically workshops, you develop workshops, consulting and all that. You've been doing that for a lot of years?
Yeah,
Other
you
than all
delivered
the
the
other
mail.
stuff.
Didn't you see a pattern there?
You got pretty good experience and background there, yeah, and all that, so. And I didn't realize the part about being involved with town of South Hadley or Hatfield, so that's really important, and it's good having that background, with you, and I appreciate it, and thanks for stepping up and volunteering your time.
No problem.
Councilman Weaver?
Thank you. Hi, Mary.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. And welcome. Thank you for stepping forward. The resume itself speaks for it, but and not just your experience in Hatfield and your experience as an individual, but you also got quite the family experience in Holyoke, too.
Yeah, there's that.
And it's certainly the connections are all positive and all good. The Board of Appeals meets on demand when there's something that is put before them, so it doesn't, I don't think, meet often, or doesn't have to require to meet other than when something comes forward, but then all of a sudden a couple of issues comes up and they'll put you to good work. The only thing we would ask is to keep within the parameters of what the Board of Appeals does. Occasionally, mayors like to do a little bit more, occasionally the Board of Appeals likes to do a little bit more, and just keep us informed. It would be, we would appreciate that.
Okay, sounds fair.
And thank you again for stepping
Oh,
forward.
no problem.
Motion?
Make a motion that approve Mary Louise Monahan for the Board of Appeals.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Welcome. There's gonna
Welcome.
be a meeting
Thank you.
tomorrow night. It'll be in front of the full council. They'll vote on it, and then, before the first meeting, you'll have to sign the book in the city clerk's
The
office.
City Clerk's office.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody here for the public hearing? Public hearing?
For the home occupancy permit for Francis Avenue?
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
You're in the right place.
right, we just, I didn't know if there's something I missed. All right, so. Entertain a motion to open up the public hearing for an application for the home occupancy for Francis Avenue, 21 Francis Avenue.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're here tonight to discuss a home occupancy permit for, help me with your name, please. Sorry? Jilson. Varela, who resides at 21 Harris Avenue. Francis Avenue, I'm sorry. Okay, great. So I guess we'll go with, we'll hear from all sides. Everybody that wants to speak has a right to speak. We're gonna, you can speak as long as you want. We don't, whatever you want to say, we're open to hear. The process basically is that, you can speak for it, you can speak against it, and then we'll,
And ask questions.
and ask questions. So I guess I'll start with the proponents of this. If they wanted to come up into that microphone, you could turn it on. Just basically the neighborhood, I'm assuming you guys, it must be the neighborhood? Okay. I'm assuming that there's gonna be some questions as to what type of business, 18-wheelers, trucks, Home Depot dropping paint off, all that gamma. So I would just talk about what your intentions are, how many workers you're gonna have, what kind of, is there gonna be work vehicles? The biggest question that I found in public hearings is it gonna disturb the neighbors?
What I'm trying to do is, because I've been in painting for a long time, so I think the time for me to open my own business. So, and another thing is, I just want to use that home as a big sign, but it won't be like a lot of trucks there. It'll be like maybe like one vehicle, two. So, and that's our plans. And pretty much like we're gonna travel more to do work outside, like in a college and stuff like that, not at home most of the time. So
Is this a one-family house or a two-family?
it's a one-family house.
It's a one-family house?
Yes.
But if I'm correct, I'm just gonna ask just a couple quick questions. It looks like, right, Maria Harris owns it?
Yes.
Does she live there, or she?
Yes, she does.
Okay, so you're not, the owner lives there?
Yes, I'm an owner also.
Okay. Another question is that, just get a little bit more specific about the work vehicles. I mean, what kind of trucks are we talking? We talking
Oh
about?
no, we're just talking about like the small vans.
Like ones that, nothing commercial. I mean, it would be commercial because it's a business, but it
Yes.
would be a large commercial vehicle.
No, it won't be. It'll be like one truck or two trucks.
Do you have a driveway?
No, but we have a garage.
You have a garage but no driveway?
Yes.
How would you have a garage and no driveway?
Right on the
Yeah.
street, probably the sidewalk and go.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right on the street.
Is there gonna be any kind of signs on the front lawn, anything that's bright lights?
It's gonna be one small sign.
When you say, well, can you tell me, when you say small, what does that mean? I mean, just trying to get a sign as big as this picture, half of that size?
Oh no, half of that size. And all the side's gonna be on the truck, so pretty much the truck's gonna be there. We're gonna have just a small sign on the front porch or something like that. So
Councilman Gibbons?
Justin, how do you intend to find customers?
to walk to them and to have a posters and to have a business card and to that's how we and also to go internet to have our own site. So that's how we transfer our customers.
Will customers be coming to your home to discuss the job that they're looking for or the job that you can do?
Well, we pretty much gonna go to their house and discuss to that because what it is that we have to go there and look the place, and then that's where we discuss that how things gonna work.
So what would the purpose of the sign be?
Oh, for our numbers, if they
For what?
numbers, our telephone number, and the name of our company. That's what the sign will say.
But people aren't going to come to the house, so you could do that anywhere.
Yeah.
You could advertise,
Yes.
different places. So it sounds like you don't really need a sign.
No, not really, but. I'm
Okay.
gonna-
The reason I ask is this is one of the more confusing permits that we give out. And I'm sure the neighbors, as is typical, will have a lot of questions. a home occupancy is supposed to allow someone like yourself to start a business, to use their home as a base. Many times it's more of the office aspect, the office work of the paperwork, telephone, internet, talking to people on the phone, and the IRS wanting to know if this is your address, does the city know you're working out of your home? The idea is, eventually anyone who starts with a home occupancy, we hope at some time they're very successful. They expand, grow out of the home into a commercial zoned into an address where a business, and with a big garage for all those trucks that you're going to have to buy for your business. But in the meantime, we have to make sure if we go forward with it that we can satisfy all the concerns of the neighbors, all the concerns of the city council, that we're protecting not only the character, but we're protecting the residential neighborhood first and foremost. That means deliveries. Do you have product that comes to your house? Paint, other stuff that you use, or do you go and buy it?
Yeah, we're gonna go and buy it
And where do you store it?
at the garage. I mean, like we don't pretty much just store anything. Pretty much like
Do you buy your paint job by job?
yes, we don't care like a lot because we don't know what color they want. So pretty much we go to the house, find out what they want, and do the estimate. Be like, this how much we're gonna use, and then after that we're done with the house, so we don't have to store anything at the house.
Okay.
It's just like a little leftover, but we have garage for that. So
Is it safe to say you won't need any deliveries other than, your normal mail, your normal UPS,
no.
but no product will be delivered to your house?
no.
Okay. The permit itself actually has nothing to do, we cannot allow by permit commercial vehicles on residential property. The type of vehicles you have are probably vehicles that anyone can bring home.
Yes.
But the permit itself is not giving you permission to, have a fleet of vehicles on your property. That would be a little bit too much, I think, for the neighborhood. But are these vehicles the vehicles that you drive all the time? Or just for the business?
Just for the business. The vehicle that we're gonna have.
And it's one van, you say, or two?
It's gonna be like two van. I mean, like for a start, it's gonna be two, and then hopefully we'll get successful, and then hopefully we move out the place also. Just to start off, it's gonna be like small thing.
Okay. What brought you to us? Who said you needed a permit?
Everybody that I talked to.
Well, at least you're listening. Have you talked to any of your neighbors? Have you talked to any of your neighbors?
No, not at all.
You will be tonight.
Oh yeah.
Again, we want to promote and help people start business, but the residential component, the residential protection of the character of the neighborhood and the neighborhood itself and their quality of life is important, a very important part before the city council will issue a permit. So some of the questions I asked, no deliveries, no customer traffic, would be what we would ask to be put as a condition of the permit that would still allow you to do your office work, to do your administrative work, to make telephone calls and so forth. I'm not sure, Mr. Chairman, but I don't think either way, we'd be the ones regulating the vehicles. Those would be regulated by the existing law as it is. And it's, commercial vehicles to a certain size can be brought home. But that's, even though you use them for the business in your home is the office. The other issue we'll have to figure out is how much of the garage is storage and how much of the garage is needed for the business and exactly what you're doing. There's the type of painting you do you have any prep work you have to do, or is it just load up the van and go?
Yeah, just like pretty much at the garage we're gonna sell like ladders and that's what we have to get the ladders and then go to to the job. Pretty much like it won't be like a lot of paint around, so,
Everything is inside the garage,
yes,
nothing outside?
nothing outside.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to kind of piggyback a little bit what Councilman McGivern was talking about. You know, the home occupancy permit's kind of basically so you can have an office and so you can, you know, fax proposals to people. You can have, people can call you on your phone and it's not really disrupting the neighborhood. You know, that's the sense of a home occupancy permit. You know, it's not something where, and this is just, we're all learning here, but we're not, you know, we want to be sure that the neighborhood isn't, you know, people buy homes, they want to live in peace. We don't want that whole neighborhood disrupted, because as you can imagine, if somebody else was doing a business next door to you, when you have kids and you're having a family and you're trying to have, you know, a picnic outside on a Saturday, and these guys are slamming ladders around every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, it becomes a problem. So we just want you to be aware of, if this permit is granted, there are, you know, there's going to be some obligations on how you can run the business. You know, the signage, the phone calls, the vehicles, you know, the storage, all that comes into play because we want to keep that neighborhood a residential neighborhood.
Yes.
Thanks. Councilman McGivern asked most of the questions I had. I did get a call from one of your neighbors that they're not here tonight, but was concerned about this and didn't really want you to start this business. But I mean, we have to look at this, you know, objectively, you know, as a city official here. We want you to have, you know, a start. And when we did these before, I was on a committee, and I believe we did it with the ordinance committee. The key thing is to say, when you start something, a home occupation, is to keep it as invisible as possible in the neighborhood. You know, and Councilor McGivern said it right off about, you know, you don't really need a sign. You put a sign in your truck. You know, you're not going to have a lot of storage. You're not going to have a lot of customer traffic. You know, some businesses do have trucks coming. You're not going to have no trucks because you're going to go out and get your own paint. You know, my concern was the ladders. You know, I don't want to see, you know, I wouldn't want to see ladders hanging outside on the sidewalk or by the garage, because I know the garage is so close to the street there. I'm familiar with the area. I'm familiar with the street. You know, it's a very quiet, you know, residential street, and I'm sure the neighbors want to keep it that way. But I'm not going to deny you for trying to start a business. If you start something slow and it's not disrupting their peace of mind and their serenity in that neighborhood, and eventually if something happens that you could get a place later on, a storefront, there's plenty of buildings downtown that maybe you could rent for a small amount if your business takes off. But that's my concern, is to keep it as quiet as possible in the neighborhood, and I'm sure we'll hear that tonight. And I think anytime you want to start something, as Councilor McGivern asked, have you talked to your neighbors? I think that's the first thing you should have done, is talk to your neighbors. A couple of them, you know, either side, or a couple of people across the street, because you get a feel for that. And I applaud you for doing this, because a lot of people just wouldn't do something like this. You know, they wouldn't come forward and say, I need a permit. Well, I'll just do it. Nobody's going to know. You know, I'll just do it quietly and nobody will know. But you're going about it the right way, and I think that's important. But, you know, I'm also looking forward to hear from the residents and the people that live there, because you want to work, you got to live there. They got to live there.
Yeah.
You know, they want some peace of mind in their neighborhood. So we'll just, I'm sure if we do have this tonight and we put some conditions on it, that you'll have to abide by all those conditions that we do, because, you know, that's important to have that. And we do follow up, and the city will follow up on making sure that you keep to those conditions. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you want, is there anybody here that wants to, and I hate to say this like for it or against it, but that's kind of how the terminology that we use, not necessarily, people, if you just want to come up and ask questions, that's fine, but what I want to do is there anyone else here that wants to speak kind of in favor of the project? And then we can go on, fine, fantastic. No, right, no, and I can't think of a better terminology to put that, but that's typically how they.
Questions?
Questions. All right, does anyone have any, you can take a seat, just stand by though, because these questions are probably going to be interesting. Should we have them sit up by a microphone?
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, all I ask,
Nelson, if you can't hear, just come in. If you can't hear, just, yeah.
I would just ask that when you come up to the microphone, just tell us your name and your address, just for the record. And all of you can speak. I mean, it's no problem. Come on up.
Of course, he's way taller than I am. All right, I'll just tilt it down. There we go. So I'm Cindy Lovelace. I live at 22 Francis Ave,
What's the name again?
Loveless, Cynthia,
Okay,
actually,
okay.
Loveless.
Okay.
And yes,
You're
I know
22?
I know it's an unfortunate last name, but, yes, it's 22 Francis,
So you're like right across the street?
right across the street. We see each other often.
Okay.
So just, and again, if he's not storing anything there, then I'm okay, but one of my questions was about whether anything flammable will be there. I always worry about exhaust and flames and any combustibles or anything like that.
Hey, sorry, but
You want the
we're on,
microphone?
we
They
can
need
tell
to hear
everybody,
you up here, so maybe you
we're on
can
TV.
talk.
Yeah.
We're on TV right now. You have to use the mic.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking, why don't you sit up here at a different desk, just so we don't have to, one can stay at the mic if you guys want to go back with, come on forward, you can use one of these microphones right
Just
here,
sit
my
at the
friend.
table, both.
Nelson, come in, come in.
Yeah, you
Come on
guys,
in.
come on in.
Yeah, sit over there,
And
just
then
hit the button
if
on the
you-
mic,
Yeah, there's a little button that says push on the mic,
the bu,
no, on the button, on the,
turn it green light, there you go.
so Cynthia, if why don't you fire that at him again, and we can go from there.
Okay, so my question was regarding any flammable items, chemicals, or, I don't know enough about painting, but sometimes I worry about that kind of, whether you'll be storing anything that is combustible.
To start, my name is Edwino Fernandez. I'm a Gelson partner in all this. About the question in painting job, we might use something flammable, but it's always small amount to remove the painting after you paint, to remove all the paint, especially when you use the oil. Those kind of paints, get in yourself and then hard to move. But it's just small amount. Can be small can like this, but it's gotta, be stored in the right place. But it's not something can be disposal easily to the fire or stuff like that. That's, if people doesn't know, but in our case, it's not gonna be outside. It's small container or small bottle. It's gonna be always in the right place, stored in the right place.
Properly, stored properly.
Have
Yeah,
you
exactly.
seen, have you seen those flammable storage lockers that people put paint in and chemicals and gasoline? I mean, that might be something we can kick around as a condition of this permit, but I certainly would think you would do it anyways. We can also talk about having the fire department do a little visit to make sure that they are stored properly in a flammable resistant container. And, there's 4 inspectors that do that for a living every day, so we can certainly do that. But go ahead.
Okay, that's good. The other thing is I didn't know if there was gonna be like any air compressors or anything that may cause noise in the neighborhood, because to your point, noise is, we're a nice, quiet neighborhood, and I kinda like to keep it that way.
No. There is, we might use the spray in the job, but after we clean it, we storage, there is no harm.
Okay.
It's-
So you have a sprayer, but not a compressor.
Okay. And then, I know you said 1 or 2 vehicles. My biggest concern is about parking. Winter parking on our street is not very good. We struggle with that in general, so I do have a concern about the number of trucks.
Yeah, by the way, to start, we decided to start with one vehicle. Even later, we can buy another one, but we know about the space in the neighborhood. It's not gonna be 2 vehicle parked there. It's only one that's gonna be there.
All right, so just so we're clear, though.
Yeah.
What you're saying right now is that you're only gonna have 1 vehicle
Yep.
using for
Yeah,
paint parked
yeah, in
on the
that
street.
place, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, that's all I
Good.
had. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has anything else.
Next?
Can that vehicle fit in the garage?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's a small mean van.
Yeah.
Those,
It's a minivan or a van? Like,
yeah, the van.
The van.
has anyone seen the van?
Never.
Name and
Paul
address?
Danault, 54 Woods Avenue,
Could you spell your last name for me? I'm sorry.
D-A-I-G-N-A-U-L-T,
And your address again? I'm sorry.
54 Woods Avenue.
Okay.
first I'd like to know if he is actually a part owner of that house.
I guess the question would be, does either of you have
Yes.
part ownership of that?
Yes,
Like
I
it's-
do.
Like it's on the deed?
What?
It's on the actual recorded deed at the assessor's office that you are an owner of that?
Yes, yes, it's my house.
And the
property?
other,
I mean, that's a simple phone call to the assessor's office, because it's all public
the
information.
other part is they already have a vehicle stored in the garage with other things. The garage isn't very big. So that's another one of my issues. And the other issue is about, in the winter, it's really jammed up on the street. We're having, you gotta have another vehicle there. And I'm also concerned about if they do get the permit, I'm not trying to stop somebody from working. But if they do get the permit and there's issues down the road, and they don't, abide by whatever the restrictions are, what's our recourse as neighbors? How do we, what would happen?
It's basically kind of a 1-year, a 12-month trial run to see how it goes. I mean, rest assured, I know a lot can happen in a year but I mean, a lot of these, if this was to happen, the vehicle parking, the noise, the storage of chemicals, there's all sorts of ordinances that we can call the police. If it's noise, we can call the fire department if there's questions about what they're storing in the garage. I mean, there's ways that we can kind of have our local inspectors go check on the property. We have a building commissioner, there's 2 of them in there. We have the Board of Health. Board of Health has a wide array of power, what's called general nuisance problem. So if it's just a general nuisance, and it's in the opinion of the Board of Health that these folks or anyone is causing a problem to the neighbors, and it doesn't specify what it is, it just says, in the opinion of the Board of Health, if he's causing a nuisance, a source of filth, dirt, trash, they have the power to go over there and either cite them or bring them to court and remediate the problem and take whatever measures it needs to be done to get it to be fixed. So there are avenues to, like, you can't, it's not, if he gets the permit, you don't just sit there and if there's a problem and, you know, he's got a compressor going at 2 o'clock in the morning, then you need to call the police, you need to call the Board of Health, and they'll get in touch with us and we can certainly, you know, address it.
And just one more question. I'd like to know, are they actually in business now? Do they have a business now? Or is this just something they're starting?
Something that we're starting now. I do work for painting
Yeah, both
place,
me and
yeah, but that's why we just starting our business now.
Okay, that's it.
I want to answer one of it. I mean, we are the one having more interest that our job and then our neighborhood is working, I mean, together and respect the law and then respect our neighborhood. Just to make sure, like, we get along and then we work together.
Anybody else, please feel free. Got any thoughts? I mean, even if you just want to express an opinion, you don't have to ask a question. If you just want to say, this is where I live, these are my concerns, so they hear it, because otherwise, no, they may never hear this again. The TV reception isn't that good, so you don't have to worry about being on television, rest assured.
I'm Virginia Furinger.
Can you just spell your last name for us, Virginia,
It's
please?
Fuhringer.
Okay, and where do
I'm
you
at
live?
33 Francis Avenue.
Great. Go ahead.
I am, you know, in generally supportive of their plans. My main concerns would be traffic congestion, which it doesn't sound like it would be an issue, noise, and, you know, the parking on the street in the winter is a problem. You know, one more vehicle, I don't personally feel would be too big of an issue. It is pretty jammed in the winter, but, you know, I wouldn't deny them that, you know, so, those are my feelings.
So getting back to the vehicles, because obviously that's a, you know, Francis Ave's kind of tight street, winter time, it's only one side people can park on, and it's a congested neighborhood, as you know, there's houses are next to each other. Does a vehicle in the garage, is it operable, does it work?
Yes, it works. It's gonna go on the road really soon. So yeah.
So in other words, any vehicle that because what's gonna happen is, just thinking logically, you're gonna have a vehicle in the garage, you're gonna try to store your paint and all your ladders in the garage, and then you're gonna put a vehicle on the street.
Yeah.
One question. For example, material like leather, even paint, sometime stays in the job. Sometime people allowed you to leave all the stuff stored up there. You don't have to bring leather home. And then sometime you can bring, but paint is gonna be small amounts. Most paint always stay there, but those left over after you don't use, and then you dispose of it. Then you don't bring home.
How about what do you got, is there a basement area at all that you could,
Yeah, we do. We have
yourself?
a backyard and a basement. That's all this stuff.
not
that,
the backyard? Not the backyard?
I mean, for the ladder.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I mean, again, having like, I think I might have a trash barrel and a ladder in my backyard, but what we're trying to do is trying to keep the neighborhood as residential as possible. It's best that nobody knows that you're even running a business, and again, as Counselor Tallman pointed out, it's great that you guys even came in, because I'm sure there's guys doing side jobs out of their house as it is, but it's nice that you guys came in for the permit, but, so we just want to make sure that, the residents behind you, everybody wants to be a good neighbor.
Yes.
Nobody wants to be calling the police on their neighbors or calling the Board of Health on their neighbors because their house is a shambles and there's, paint everywhere. And I'm not suggesting that it is, but, it's best, we just all want to be aware of, what their concerns are, just so, I will remember having this conversation with you 12 months from now, if you guys get the permit, saying like, we've got 37 calls to the police department, we got 15 to the Board of Health, the neighbors have called me, because we're all, all our information is out there for the public, they can call us as well. And then we can call the police and the Board of Health if they chose not to, on their behalf, which we would do. But we just want, and again, I'm not suggesting that that's how it's going to be, but we want to be crystal clear that if you guys are allowed this permit, that, we want to make sure that the neighborhood is not disrupted, quiet as a mouse, so to speak, Joe, you got any thoughts?
No, I guess it's just,
Right.
is there anyone else that wants to come forward?
Anybody else want to speak? Come on up, just state your name, and if it's not Jones, spell it for us.
I'm Mike Rogers, Rodgers. I live
That's
at
it.
11 Francis Avenue. My apologies for being late.
That's not, just your address, I'm sorry.
11 Francis Avenue.
Thanks, Mike.
My concern is pretty much, probably mirrors a lot of people here, is traffic and parking, especially in the wintertime. It's at a minimal right now. And if, like this past winter, when there was a lot of snowbanks on each side of the street, it was very difficult to get down the road. And if there's cars parked on both sides of the street, fire apparatus can't get down. So my concern is mainly for parking at this point, and traffic issues.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Anybody else? Because we're gonna have to close the public hearing, so this is gonna be your last chance to kind of speak out in public.
I want to say one
Go
more
on.
thing.
Yep.
I admire the fact that you guys are doing this, so I don't want you to think that we're trying to put any, big roadblocks in your way or anything. We are just truly worried about our homes and our streets and the safety of all the kids in the neighborhood and all that stuff. So,
Yes, definitely.
I applaud your, ambition but like I said, we just want to make sure that we're all covered as well, that's all.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Mike.
I'm not trying to put a roadblock in front of anybody starting a business. They want to start a business, pay taxes. I'm all for that. Like I said, my concern is just the quality of life issue. If they're going to do this within the guidelines, I'm perfectly fine with that, as long as it's not disruptive, and especially for traffic. And like she said, there's kids on the street too as well. So that's my concern. But absolutely not am I any way against anybody coming forward and doing it the proper way and contributing to the city, both taxes and a business-wise. I applaud that. Thank you.
Thank you.
If, I could, Mr. Chairman?
Of course.
But, well, yeah,
Come on up.
well, Paul, you have to, because it won't record if you're out
Yeah.
there. Sorry.
Recorded.
I think we all feel the same way.
Yeah.
Sounds that
We're
way.
not trying to stop anybody from starting their business. It's just the concerns that we talked about. That's all.
We would feel the same way.
So at least we're all kind of clear on what their concerns are.
Yes.
No one doesn't want you to be successful and become
understand
the next DuPont or Sherman-Williams or whatever you guys want to be. But obviously, we just gotta be mindful of that. You have some very, very nice neighbors, it sounds like,
Yes.
because I've seen people come down here, absolutely not, we're not having this type of thing, so at least, they're open to the concept as long as it's done correctly in the right
Yes.
way. Councilman McGivern?
Before we close the public hearing, it would, and gentlemen, or any of the neighbors, please state different if you don't feel the same way. We would make a motion to adopt the permit with conditions, that's typical. And the conditions at the moment, what I'm hearing is no deliveries, okay, because you pick up all your supplies on your own. No sign, okay, if you're not having any real customer traffic, you don't need a sign. Okay, if you're doing, you're seeking your customers through the internet, through advertising, the sign just promotes people to stop into the house, and that probably wouldn't be a problem, but sometimes it can be. Jelson, you look puzzled.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
yes.
Okay. So therefore, no customer traffic, no noisy compressors, period, okay? And that includes banging ladders on Saturday morning. That's when I like to sleep and we don't want to hear them, all right? Any necessary storage has to be both safe and in the garage or, I guess in the basement if you have to, but not in the backyard. I'm going to hesitate to say anything about vehicles. I hear everybody loud and clear, and I'm not sure exactly how to do it, Mr. Chairman, but anyone can bring, the size vehicles you have, can bring a commercial vehicle home in any neighborhood, regardless of whether they're operating a business, a home occupation business or not. But I think you've heard your neighbors very loud and clear. When you're successful and you get that second vehicle and your third and fourth, find some commercial space real quick. And don't, if you can park the van, I'm not sure if we can put it as a condition, but maybe park the van in the garage or at least whenever possible.
The commercial van.
Yes. But if you put the commercial van in the garage and the car comes outside, you're not gaining anything here.
Yeah.
I just want to just thumb on that, on the storage. I would like to see a condition or at least a notification to the fire department that they go out there and that you do get a flammable storage. Because listen, you're gonna have those acetones to wipe, when you use those oil paints, you can't use warm water to take the paint off the paintbrush. You're gonna be using all those chemicals and turpentines and all that sort of stuff. So I would like you guys to see you guys purchase it. I'm gonna, if the board agrees, buying one of them flammable storage lockers. So God forbid something happens, they're stored properly. Nobody's cats aren't drinking them and nobody's kicking them and they're falling into the street.
Yeah.
And then, we'll check with the fire department. They go over there and they make sure that everything's okay.
Yep.
I'm on with that, yeah, I just don't want to put too much, you could probably get one not too costly, but I think that's important, that the neighbor's concerned about flammable, even if it's a small amount. It's all it takes is a small amount of something to happen, somebody to get into, and, have a container where it would be, as he stated, locked up, and so nobody can get at it, and it'll be safe.
All right, so should I reiterate those conditions?
Please.
Well, no, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was going to say, gentlemen, do you have any issues on the conditions?
No.
Okay. And your neighbors have any issues? Does that kind of cover everything?
Missing something?
Mike, I don't know if you heard the part, it's a one-year permit. And
Yes.
then they have to reapply. If there's no problems, it's pretty automatic, but there's problems, it won't be issued again.
And obviously, we won't know if there's any problems unless someone notifies us. Like you can either, and I would suggest notifying one of us, and then calling the Board of Health, or if there's any issues, I'm hoping there won't be, but, or the fire department, any sort of those issues, but just notify us so we know when it comes back up, because typically, it's just, when they renew their permit, it comes to the full body, and it's just a yes vote if the taxes, we make sure the taxes are paid and there hasn't really been any problems, then it's a renewed permit. So we need to know from the neighborhood that there have been problems, or that even Carlson say that they're doing a great job and they painted all your houses if you want, however you want to go.
I just want to reiterate, and with those conditions, we're going to read through the conditions, but that the neighbors do contact us if anything they see out of the ordinary, something that's not right. If all of a sudden you see 3 cars there in front of your, in the wintertime, there's 3 cars there now loading up paints, or, that's what we're here for, to try to make sure everything runs smoothly in the neighborhood, and for the people that want to start this business, both of you. I wish you the best, but as I stated before, to try to keep it as invisible as possible. So that way the neighborhood, people going by that don't know that there's a big business, painting company working out of your house. So anything you can do to try to make it as quiet and as invisible as possible, I think that's the key for the neighbors.
Chair, make a motion to close the public hearing and proceed to a motion to adopt and recommend the adoption of the special permit with conditions to the city council.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm just gonna read those conditions, just so we're all clear. So there's no deliveries, no signs, no noisy compressors, or we're gonna kinda, expand that, just not a lot of noise. The compressors are very noisy. No, any storage, any of flammables, we're gonna get a flammable storage locker. And I mean, they come from this ones to the big ones, so it doesn't, just get the one that's appropriate for you. And then there's not gonna be any commercial vehicles parked on the street. Or you want, wait a second.
We can't really say that.
All right.
But we could
Just be
encourage you
mindful-
not to do it.
Be mindful of the parking,
Parking
because
section, yeah.
everybody wants to be able to, and then in the wintertime, it's only parking on one side or the other side, so, we don't want anybody walking 3 miles to get to their house in the snow.
I think that's pretty much
No
everything
sign, no
covered.
deliveries.
Yep.
No sign,
No deliveries,
no customer traffic to the house, right?
no customer traffic.
Because you're going out and you're doing the thing, so there's not gonna be anybody coming down looking for,
All right, so there's 6 conditions, okay. All right, so there's a motion on the table, or, I'm sorry,
Make a motion,
To adopt with the conditions, to adopt and recommend to the city council to do that tomorrow night.
okay.
a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So folks, from this point, it's gonna go to the full council tomorrow. If you have a change of heart, there's 12 other city councilors you can call and tell them your thoughts, where you stand on it, privately, publicly, however you wanna go about it. I encourage you, if it does go through the full body tomorrow night, I encourage you again to just let us know via email, phone call, anonymously, however you wanna do it, just let us know what's going on, because we don't live on Francis Avenue. Okay? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck, gentlemen.
I just wanna have him write his name, if I could.
You spoke well, Cynthia.
Before, everything is on, everything's televised now.
Did we know? Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Will be contact for the city clerk's office?
The mayor's gotta sign it. The mayor's gotta sign it, so give it a few days after tomorrow night. Call the city clerk. I don't think Brenda's back to work, but whoever you call will explain to you what your next step is. And they'll get the permit or tell you how to get the permit.
All right.
Okay? Good luck.
Good luck, guys. Yeah.
And when you need that big office space, come see the economic development, and they're gonna find you a commercial spot in Hoyoke.
Right. Okay. You can put all the signs up you want.
Have a good night, good luck.
Sure.
Yeah, we say so, yeah, right.
Should we move to item number 5?
There is no item 5.
Make a motion, we move to item number
7?
Item number
4?
4.
So moved.
The mayoral appointed Jerome Ezald as member of the Historical Commission for the city of Hoyoke. I spoke to Mr. Ezald today. Mondays nights do not work for him, so I told him that I would try to schedule it.
Make a motion to lay on the table for a future meeting.
Second.
Motion to take up item 7.
So
Second.
moved.
This is an order filed by me, order that whereas the city of Hoyoke has received the recommendation for the second time from the Mass Department of Revenue, and to be in compliance with Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 24, as well as the City Ordinance 82-36, order that the City Council appoint the third member to the Board of Assessors. I ask that we table this order. I've been in contact with the Assessor's Office, and there's a game plan.
Okay, second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 8 to take off the table. Order that.
So moved.
order that the Wellness Center room at the Holyoke Senior Center be dedicated in honor of Mayor Michael J. Sullivan, or former Mayor Michael J. Sullivan. I was contacted by the maker of this order, Anthony Soto. He asked that I table it. So I'd entertain a motion to table it.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That does it for our meeting, unless there's something else, gentlemen.
Do we have to schedule a meeting for Mr. Ezold, soon? Because, after tomorrow night, the next regular meeting is not until,
24, I'm gonna try to do it I told him, he says every night works for him except Monday nights. So, even if we just come in for that one thing, I'll shoot you guys an email, see if we can get together there might be something else by that time as well. I didn't,
We won't have another meeting until August, right? Full
no,
board meeting,
well, do we
after
have?
tomorrow.
And we're not taking up anything at the budget meeting, right?
you'd have to get it on, we couldn't get it on the agenda without the, I think in this case, the president doing it. But we can ask him.
Well, that meeting's on the 24th, I think.
Yeah.
So we have time, we got a little leeway to have Jerome in, or Jerry in, and then talk to Kevin, see if he can throw it on the agenda for the 24th. It shouldn't be,
If he wants to do that.
All right, well, I'll ask him.
I thought that was just for the budget, though. No, can put other stuff on there, too?
Well, the idea was just to do the budget, but I
Right.
mean, I don't know how what the makeup of that board is, and if the historical commission, do they have a quorum? Because there's one other, there's another.
I think they do. We appointed about 3 people last 2 meetings.
Oh, that's true, yep, okay. I'll run it by Kevin. If he says no, go on it, then we'll do it in August. You can go to the meetings.
Yeah,
Just can't
we could
vote.
do it late July before the August
Right,
meeting.
right, yeah, that's what I mean, okay.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Good.